We did it. I cannot believe it, guys. We actually did it. We made it to 1,000 subscribers. And I'd like to thank all of you who have subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay. A like on this video would be greatly appreciated, and that would also help my channel to grow. So in the last video, if you guys remember, we were talking about the basic locomotion, which went from an idle pose to a sneaking animation to a jogging animation, right? But the sneaking animation wasn't working. I have since figured that out, and so now when you barely tap, when you just barely nudge the joystick, he'll start to sneak. And as you increase, it smoothly blends into the jog. So I fixed that issue, not a problem anymore. And this is gonna be great for, if you guys know Banjo Tooie, there's this part where, to get a jiggy, where you have to sneak really quietly, otherwise the snake will wake up and eat the jiggy before you get to it. So we can do all sorts of things with that. I don't know if we'll later on create enemies where they won't be able, they'll be able to hear you if you're running around, but if you're sneaking, maybe they won't notice you as much. We'll see. We'll see what we do. But anyway, so that part's done. We got the sneaking animation and it looks pretty good animated, and all these animations can be refined later. I'm just trying to first get them in there, get the functionality, and then we'll add refinement. Besides that, a lot of you said that the jump was kinda janky, and I don't think they're wrong. As I'm playing it back on, this is an older build. It's kind of what I had originally was that when you jump and you turn in the air, it's actually slower to turn around, and a lot of people complained that the gravity was too much and that he came crashing down to the ground too fast, which I agree. I actually went and I looked into it. I looked at Super Mario Odyssey. Their jump was a lot more floaty than this one is. Okay, so I'm just launching into this new build. This is this is a build from yesterday. And what we've done with the jump since then, before you could change your direction in the air quite drastically, but I noticed that in Super Mario Odyssey that he would basically choose one direction and stick to that. And also in the previous build, if I was to jump and let go of the joystick, he would immediately stop in the air. If I let go now, he just stays and keeps his direction. So let's try that again. See that? And that only makes sense with physics, guys. The only thing that's canceling his momentum is air, the friction of the air, and that won't stop dead when you let go of the joystick. So it actually does make sense, and actually makes the jumps easier to land based on that. A couple of other things that I did. I made it so you can rotate freely in the air without speed reduction. A few of you had said he looked freaking stupid when he landed, and yeah, I hadn't added an animation. You guys were right. So now, if you notice, he has this kind of, I guess, when he lands, he kind of recoils towards the ground a little bit. It's not the best animation. I just threw it in there, like I said, to test things out. Once I like how everything's set up with the code, I'll refine the animations and I'll get it all looking a little bit better. But at least he has one now. So that's enough about freaking jumping. So in the last video, I'm sure you saw me run up this platform. And this platform is a 45-degree angle. And the character controller is set to allow 45 degrees from the character is able to go up 45 degrees with no problem. But then comes the problem of when you go on something like a steeper slope. What would happen if we were to go on a steeper slope? And if you were to look back at games like Super Mario 64, Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, and Donkey Kong 64, those are the games that I've been trying to recreate the slope kind of feel with them. So with those games, what would happen is they would let you run up a steep slope for a little bit and then you would slide back down. A simple thing, really, but I'm not using rigid bodies, so Everything is done with the move function on the character controller, which means I have to find one, a direction, and two, I have to define the speed in that direction. Basically, I'm creating my own velocity. Runs up, and then he slides down the hill. Don't mind the animation. The animation is not perfect at all. It's just a way to test it. But the angle, so right now we have it so like he doesn't change his angle when he hits the slope. I'm probably gonna have it lerp between the two because right now it's just one or the other and it's really janky and kind of bad looking. No, it's not kind, it is bad looking. I'll have to do more testing and more research on how like they did it back in the old days, back on the N64. Functionally it's good. The rotation and everything, the animation, not good. But the system itself is pretty good. So another thing that I've done since the last video is I've added in moving platforms. Currently I have horizontal moving platforms and rotating platforms done, but I do not have the up and down ones. Now, if you were to make a game with Unity and you wanted to make a moving platform, most of the time you'd be using a rigid body and you would just want to make it a child of the platform that you're on when he's riding it so that it actually gets to be, so he can move around freely but still be affected by its forces. Once again, we're not using a rigid body, so I had to create this all from scratch. So what happens here is, based on frame to frame, we take the last position of the frame before it, and based on that you can figure out the direction that the platform is moving in, and with that you can also figure out the speed at which the platform is traveling, and from there you can add that direction and speed to the player's direction and speed. You get a nice smooth looking movement, and it also is part of the actual platform. He stays still and it's not, you know, sputtering. I'll show you stuttering here in a bit. But trust me, making it a child of the platform would not have worked with a character controller. One, the scale messes with it completely. It is garbage. Either you'd have to create everything in Blender to scale before putting it in, but when I'm testing with these objects, right, and I'm using the Unity default cube, that's 1 meter by 1 meter. Or this is like way bigger than that. So the scale just immediately screws up the model when he's doing it. So this is a lot better to do than that. So I hope you all liked this devlog, and I know it was a little short, but I'm hoping that you guys still enjoyed it and that you'll give it a big thumbs up. But before you guys go, I have one special announcement. My friend is hosting a game jam in June. If you guys are interested in that, I'm gonna be a judge and I'm gonna play a lot of the submissions. And I believe the top 5 or so will be featured on my channel and I'll make a video of it. So if you guys love game jams like I do, I'll have a link to it in the description below. So go check it out and I'll see you guys in the next video.